Hi again. This is a follow-up video to the video about calibration because there is a very period move of thrusting into your opponent that also helps with calibration in our modern sport. And that is the concept of a defensive strike. What I mean by that is instead of hitting your opponent with a straight thrust, you hit them instead with a blade, a sword, a hand that is moving into a parry. The point is still at their chest or their head, wherever you are aiming it, but the sword has been rotated into a parry position, meaning you have closed off that line from your opponent hitting you in that line. Now, you do have to be careful about what I said in the earlier video of not twisting the sword as you hit your opponent. So the twist has to be completed. Perhaps don't start with your sword this way, start with your sword this way and hit them. But the blade is now moving laterally to the hit. Now in the SCA, in some kingdoms, and also in some pockets of HEMA, which could be dependent on the person you're fighting against, they might say that that's not necessarily a good enough hit if when the sword lands, it's still moving laterally because they're expecting force in line with the hit. This is avoidable, however, because as you make that hit while still moving laterally, your hand is still also moving forward, once again, not driven by motion of the arm, but by motion of the body. Your hand is still moving forward, so while the sword still is moving laterally, there's still an obvious bend to the blade on their chest. And then it's largely unequivocal that you did in fact land a proper blow, which with a sharp metal sword would have been, well, I hate to say no-brainer because you could possibly have hit them in the head in period, but that is the best word here. All right, so this concept of moving your blade into a defensive position as that tip lands on your opponent. So once again, I've extended my arm, I've moved my body, but my blade is in a defensive position, cutting off that line from them hitting me, is a very period move spoken about in multiple manuals that we still have today. And it's a good way of deflecting some of the force of the blow, especially if the opponent is moving towards you, and thus keeps the calibration low and keeps our opponent ready to fight us another day. Happy practicing.